friends, welcome back to my channel, Paternosaurus Reads. I'm Katie, aka Paternosaurus, and I read. Today I'm coming at you with a pretty substantial unhaul. I didn't think I would have this many books to unhaul when I just moved, like 3 months ago, and had a massive unhaul then. But, or did I unhaul? Maybe I said I was gonna wait. I don't remember. But I really didn't think I'd have this many, but it's like, hang on, I must count. It's 23 books. I'm unhauling 23 books. I think I don't have a lot of space. Like, this is my only bookshelf, and so I'm really trying to utilize my space effectively, and books that I just know I'm not gonna reread again, like, why would I keep them? Even if I thought it was okay or good, I'm not gonna keep it. So I'm not gonna go into a huge description of every single book because then this video will be 10 million years long. So let's just get into it. The first book I'm gonna unhaul is Lysistrata by Aristophanes. This is an ancient Greek play. It's like more of a comedy. It's not really a tragedy. It's about these women who are tired of all the Greek city-states fighting, and so they all decide to withhold sex from their husbands until all the fighting stops. This translation was actually very good. It was smart and funny, but like I just didn't really care that much, so I actually DNF'd this. If you're interested in seeing other books I've DNF'd, I have a video called Books I've DNF'd, so you can watch that if you would like. I just didn't really care that much, so I'm gonna get rid of it. The next book I'm unhauling is The Two Princesses of Bamar by Gail Carson Levine, who is much more well known for writing Ella Enchanted. This was one of my favorites when I was a kid, so I decided to reread it. Didn't quite hold up, like it was still good. I think I still gave it like 4 stars. And I mean, you can see how much I loved it when I was a child because it literally comes apart. But this won't be something I reread again as an adult, I don't think, so it's time to say goodbye to this. The next book I'm unhauling is Greetings from Witness Protection by Jake Burt. It's written by Jake Burt. As you can see, I got it for $2.50 at a Scholastic Book Fair when I was still teaching. And I got this because it was a Young Hoosier nominee, so there's like this, whoever it is, academy of people, I literally don't know who chooses these books, who come up with like the best middle grade books of whatever year. And then there was always a reading challenge at my school that the librarian hosted to like see who could read the most Young Hoosiers. And this was one of the nominees for this year, like the 2019-2020 school year. So I was like, okay, well, I'll read it. And then I decided not to go back to teaching. So I was like, I don't really care that much about this book. And next we have Listen to Your Heart by Casey West. So it's a girl who starts a podcast at her school. She's like hosting an advice podcast or something. And there's like romance and miscommunication and stupid stuff. I don't really like Casey West. All these people that are saying Casey West is their favorite contemporary author, I'm like, who are you? Like, I'm glad people enjoy her writing, but I just don't get it. Like, to me, it's really not anything special. They're just like your normal, average, run-of-the-mill YA contemporaries with a little bit of romance. And it's just like, meh. I think it's like 3 stars. Like, it's fine, but I don't think Casey West's books are anything to write home about, so I'm probably not going to be buying any more of them. Next, I'm going to be unhauling Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. This is, I mean, I know it's not that old, but I almost want to call this book a classic. Like, it really changed the young adult landscape, I feel like, in books and really made it, like, this was the original hard-hitting contemporary, I feel like. Maybe I don't have a lot of knowledge of YA books before, when did this come out, 2004? Oh my god, 1999. This book came out in 1999, but I just don't want to reread this. Like, I bought it fully with the intention of rereading it. I read it first in 7th grade. Wait, you guys are gonna love this. Okay, so we separated, there were 2 language arts teachers for each grade at my school, so there were 2 7th grade language arts teachers, and at one point we separated so that the girls were with one teacher and the boys were with another instead of being with our normal teachers. And the girls read Speak, and the boys read some sports book. Excuse me? Should they not have been the ones reading this book? I mean, I'm glad we read it, but also, everyone should have read it, or everyone should have read the sports book and it should not have been gendered. I'm very fired up about this. Anyway, I'm not reading this again. I would like to put it back out into the world so that someone who would benefit from it more than me can read it. The next book I'm unhauling is East by Edith Pateau. This is a retelling of like a Norwegian fairy tale called East of the Sun, West of the Moon. This is another book that I really loved when I was a kid, and I reread it recently and it was still good, like 4 stars, but I'm not gonna reread it again. It was great to go back and relive the memories of like 11-year-old me obsessing over this book, but not gonna read it again. It has very much like Beauty and the Beast vibes. I feel like this original East of the Sun, West of the Moon fairy tale is pretty similar to Beauty and the Beast, so if you like that and you haven't read this book yet and you're kind of looking for more Beauty and the Beast retellings, then you might like this. It's good. I just don't want to keep it. Next, I'm getting rid of my copy of Hamlet by William Shakespeare. Hamlet is my favorite Shakespeare play. I really like Shakespeare, but I don't want to read his books. Like, I like analyzing Shakespeare. I don't want to just read the plays. That doesn't do it for me. Like sitting down in a class, which I took a specific Shakespeare class in college, it was awesome, and actively discussing the plays and what different turns of phrases mean and the historical context and the political climate, all that kind of stuff. That's what I like about Shakespeare, not necessarily just plain reading his works. So I'm gonna keep this, even though I do love Hamlet. I would love to see it at the Globe someday. Like, that'd be awesome. Next, I'm getting rid of Blood Heir by Amelie Wen Zhao. This was a book that had a lot of controversy when people first started getting ARCs. This is what came out in the first round of ARCs, so like it still says on sale June 2019 when it isn't even out yet now. And I basically got this book because of the controversy. So where I used to live, the independent bookstore there had like bookshelves of ARCs that you could basically check out from the library, because like they can't sell them because they're ARCs, but they had partnerships with publishers where you could get them and send your feedback to the publishers, and you could keep them or you could put them back on the shelf at the store and other people could get them, whatever. So I saw this right after the controversy happened and I was like, ooh, I want it. Just because there was like tea around it. And the more I've thought about this book and what it's about, which I think is kind of like an Anastasia retelling, I've never been into Anastasia. Like, I don't really care that much. So I'm gonna, again, send this out into the world so that someone who really does want to read it can. Next, I'm getting rid of my copy of No Fear Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, for very much the same reasons as I'm getting rid of my copy of Hamlet. I just am not gonna read it again. And that's that on that. Next, I'm getting rid of this very beat up copy of The Princess Bride. If you've seen my favorite books of all time video, you know this is my #1 favorite book of all time. But this is a super busted copy. Like, this might be my first one ever. And I do have another one, and I will be getting more in the future because I want every edition of this book to ever exist. But I would like it to be nice, and this is not nice. So I'm gonna, this sounds so shady. Like, I'm gonna give this copy to somebody else and they can have the beat up one, and then I'm gonna have a nice one. But you gotta do what you gotta do. The next book I'm getting rid of is Daisy Jones and the Six. This is an ARC as well. I got it from that same bookstore where I used to live. I was so excited to see this. And then I read it and I didn't like it that much. Like, I think I gave it a 3-star at the time because I didn't want to give a Taylor Jenkins Reid book less than 3 stars, but honestly, this is a 2-star book for me. And I have a funny story related to this because I knew Cece from Problems of a Book Nerd, who I love her channel. She's awesome. I knew she was really excited about this book. So I didn't DM her on Twitter. I was just like on Twitter just generally because I was afraid she wouldn't see a DM. And I added her and I was like, hey, I have this arc of Daisy Jones and the Six. When I'm done with it, do you want it? And she said no because she had like other books on her immediate TBR and stuff. And I was like, okay, just thought I'd ask. And I'm glad I did that because this is a signed arc. I don't know if you can see. That is Taylor Jenkins Reid's signature. So then I was like, oh dip, because I asked her that before I even started reading this. And then I was like, oh my God, no, I have this signed arc. And then I read it and I didn't like it. So I'm like, I don't want to keep this. And this was the book I struggled with the most, I think, in choosing what I was going to unhaul, because it's a signed arc by Taylor Jenkins Reid. But also, I don't like this book. So why not give this to someone who really wants it? You know, like someone who would really, really love to have this signed arc. So I'm thinking of maybe saving this for a giveaway once I hit like a subscriber goal. But it's definitely not in like what I'm considering to be my personal book collection anymore. Okay, next I'm getting rid of 2 copies of Jane Unlimited. So I had this in my classroom. It has my last name on the top, so I'm not gonna show you. And then I bought this one when my friends and I were kind of gonna do like a traveling book thing where like, okay, one person reads it and then you like write your notes in the margins and then you mail it to the next person, kind of like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, but Sisterhood of the Traveling Book. And then we never did that, and I don't care that much about this book. Like when I read it, I was like, oh yeah, this is good. But I don't see myself rereading it, and if I do, I'll just like check it out from the library or, you know, get the audiobook or whatever. But I don't know that I really need this book on my shelves. The next book I'm getting rid of is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. This book took book 2 by storm, and it absolutely should have. This is about a non-binary teen named Ben, and they get kicked out of their house after they come out. And this is Own Voices. Mason, I was like, where's their name? It's up here. Mason Deaver is also non-binary, and so this is their like love letter to the NB community, and I think that's awesome. So I don't want to keep this because I'm not going to reread it. Like, I'm glad I read it. I'm glad I bought it and supported this author. But I want this book to go to someone who will see themselves in this book and be so happy to have it, because I am like middle of the road to have it. You know, like this book does not speak to me, and this book deserves to go to someone who it will speak to. We're coming down to the wire, folks. There's like 8 left, 9. Next book I'm getting rid of is this giant modern fairy tales bind up by Holly Black. What books are in it? Tithe Valley and Ironside. So this is like, at this point it almost feels like a prequel to the Folk of the Air series, like The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, The Queen of Nothing. She wrote these books. The first one came out in like 2002, and bro, you can tell. Oh my goodness, it's like not good. These books are straight up not good. The people who are hosting the Fairy-a-thon, I was in a couple of the live shows. I don't think I was able to be in all of them for these books, but like everyone was roasting them so hard, and they deserve it. These books are not good. I bought them because they did repackage them to make them all nice and pretty and match all the covers for the Folk of the Air trilogy. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll buy those books because I have them on audio. I really like the audiobooks for those, actually. But I was like, oh yeah, I'll buy the physical books too and have them all displayed with this one as well, and probably The Darkest Part of the Forest and like all the other books that are in Holly Black's fairy world. And then I read this and I was like, no man, I'm not gonna do that because it's not good. So I may still someday buy the physical copies of the Folk of the Air series, but it will not be displayed with this because this trilogy is not good. Next, I'm getting rid of We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Also not good. So boring. Hated the ending. This is also a signed copy, which I literally didn't even know when I bought it. I just saw that it was a deluxe edition and it was 20% off, so I was like, ooh. But it literally says on the back of it, like, deluxe edition, autographed first printing. It says that, and I just didn't even notice, and I don't care because this book wasn't good. Okay, next I'm getting rid of Four Dead Queens by Astrid Schulte? I've seen it pronounced both ways. This was an Outcrate book that I hadn't heard of before, and I don't care to read it. I've heard it's not that good, so I wasn't excited about it before, and when I looked it up, it didn't make me any more excited to read it, so I'm not going to. Next, I'm getting rid of Leon the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. So many things happened in this book that absolutely ruined all the characters from Love, Simon, and Becky really just like did not hit a home run with this book. If she continues in the Love, Simon universe, I hope that she course corrects and fixes things, because this book made me like legitimately angry, and that's not cool. So next I'm getting rid of On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. Again, this is one of those books that I'm glad I bought it. I'm glad I supported the author. I really like this book, but I want it to be in the hands of someone who will appreciate it more than me and will really be able to see themselves in this book. I will probably reread it, but probably on audio, because it is about this teenage rap artist, and so I would love to hear the narrator actually like do the rap parts. I think it would be really cool. So next, I'm getting rid of Crown of Feathers by Nikki Pau Prado. This was another Owl Crate book that I did read this, and like, isn't it pretty with the, it's purple, like, so pretty. But it was mediocre. This was like a very run-of-the-mill, just boring, not boring, it was okay. I gave it 3 stars. I don't know why I'm roasting it. It was fine, but I'm not gonna reread it. If I continue with the series, it'll be through the library and not purchasing my own copy, so gonna pass this along. Next, I'm getting rid of The Strange True Tale of Frankenstein's Creator, Mary Shelley, by Catherine Reeve. Mary Shelley biography. Remember how I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna read this. This is my fall TBR. It's so spooky. I love Frankenstein, blah, blah, blah. I'm not gonna read this. I don't know what I was thinking. That was like 2 weeks ago, and I already know I'm never gonna read this book. Like, Mary Shelley's cool and all, but I'm not gonna read this book. I've realized this is, like, biographies are not really the type of nonfiction that I like. I'm much more into like a narrative nonfiction type of thing. And I just know that I would be bored to tears reading this book. It's also super heavy for being so small. Like, this is heavier than the other 2 books I have combined. It's so heavy. Okay, we're down to the last 2 books, which is actually 2 copies of the same book, which is Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan. So I won this arc through Goodreads, which was very cool. I was so excited. Like, how can you not be excited? Like, this was one of the most hyped releases of the year, right? Everyone was so crazy about this book. And then I read this arc and I was like, this ain't it, honey. And then of course, it was an Owl Crate book as well. And these covers though, like, they're very tasty. And the covers almost made me keep these books because they're so pretty. But a book being pretty is not a good enough reason to keep it, especially when I strongly disliked it. Like, I've seen a lot of people feeling the same way I did about like the book being confusing, and I don't like it when a book confuses me when it's not supposed to, and I really don't think this book was supposed to. Look, the spine is pretty, and it's pretty under the dust jacket, but I'm gonna get rid of it and someone else can enjoy its beauty. Hopefully someone else will enjoy it, because I know I didn't. Okay, that's it. That is my 23 book unhaul. That was a lot. Yeah, I hope these books go to a good home that will love them more than I do. Let me know what you think of unhauls. I like doing them. It's very cathartic to get rid of books. It feels good. Feel free to follow me on any of my social media. I'll all be linked down below. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. That's what YouTubers say. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.